Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and then make predictions for next week's top 5, so let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Despicable Me 3, number 2 would be Transformers The Last Night, number 3 would be Baby Driver, number 4 would be The House, and number 5 would be Cars 3. And I actually only got 2 out of 5 of my predictions right, but that's not a bad thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually one of those times where I'm happy I got it wrong. Let's go over why. Number 1 was, of course, Despicable Me 3, which isn't really a surprise to anyone, but what people are really going to be interested about is how this compares to the other movie's success. Now, Minions, it didn't come close to matching that. It was only 40 million off. However, with Despicable Me 2's opening weekend, it was only 8 million away from that. This movie opened with 75 million, which is very close to its budget of $80 million, so that's very good for the film, and on the worldwide total, it's already doubled that budget, making 192 million. So this is a very strong opening for Despicable Me 3, not as big as the second movie or Minions, but it's still bigger than the first movie, which, you know, is still pretty awesome for it, because you never want to stoop lower than the first movie. That's Transformers' job, after all. And even though I thought this movie was just okay, I'm not mad at this film for making a lot of money. That's exactly why Illumination made it, after all. So I'm just going to move on to number 2, the movie that I'm so happy to see here. It's Baby Driver. This weekend it made $21 million. Now, it opened on Wednesday, so it adds to a domestic total of $30 million. And on the worldwide chart, it has already surpassed its $34 million budget. It's made $36 million worldwide. It's on its way of doubling it, and I am so happy for this. I honestly, last week, I thought maybe it would get to number 3. No way it's going to top Transformers, but here it is. It just did. I'm honestly ecstatic to see it get this much money. Even though it's not a lot of money, this is still a pretty good opening for this film that I thought originally wasn't going to do as well. So congratulations, Edgar Wright. I'm hoping this movie just continues to make even more money because it's that spectacular. Now moving on to number 3, which is Transformers The Last Night. Anything but spectacular. It made $17 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $102 million, and on the worldwide chart it is at $429. So it's very close to doubling its $217 million budget, which of course was expected, and it's going to make a lot more than that. It will probably be able to triple that budget too. So I'm not really mad about this because I already knew that it would happen. It's kind of this thing that I've accepted now. So I just wish that this series would be fun, at least, so that the money-making thing was at least, it felt necessary for a fun movie, but whatever, it's frickin' Michael Bay. Hopefully they continue to get better and they can make more money, because this is still one of the lower grossing ones, so maybe Paramount will learn, but then again, maybe not. Number 4 is Wonder Woman, making $16 million, adding to a domestic total of $346 million, and it just surpassed, domestically here, it just surpassed Man of Steel, Suicide Squad, and Batman v Superman. It is the highest grossing domestic film out of the DCEU. That is super great for Wonder Woman. I'm glad that it was able to do that. Even though it didn't open to the same numbers that Suicide Squad or BVS did, it still kept it strong, and they made it more than both of those films. I'm so happy for this movie. And I also heard recently that Patty Jenkins was coming back to direct the sequel. Honestly, that's a great idea. That they should not lose her. And also, worldwide, before I move on, it's at $708 million. So it still has a ways to go to top every DCEU film worldwide-wise. But it's still, domestically, that's a good start. That's a very good start. Number 5, a film that I'm surprised hasn't been making a little bit more money. That is Cars 3. It only made $9.5 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $120 million. And on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at 173, which is $2 million less than its $175 million budget. I am honestly shocked that this movie hasn't gotten past that yet or doubled it yet. I thought for sure that it would open everywhere. Now, I checked the foreign chart, and it does look like there's still places for it to open, so I'm not going to rule this movie out yet as just a flat-out bomb, but just the fact that it's not making as much as the other 2 Cars movies should really say something. Moving on to number 6, which is The House. I thought this movie had a chance. Turns out it didn't. It made $9 million this weekend, and this is on a budget of $40 million. Jesus Christ, that is a huge bomb for Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler, but I hear that this is warranted because this has a really low score on Rotten Tomatoes. No one's really liking this movie, unless you're a crazy person who likes terrible comedies, I guess. I'm not sure how this movie's going to do, especially compared to other R-rated comedies this year, like Rough Night or Fist Fight. But from what I've been hearing, quality-wise, this movie definitely doesn't deserve to get its budget back or to double it. Number 7 is 47 Meters Down, which made $4 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $32 million. And that is more than doubled its budget, and more than tripled. That is very good for the film, because it was originally supposed to go straight to DVD, but it got released in theaters and it made a profit. So that's pretty good. And I actually did recently watch this movie, and all I will say is, before I make my review, it's kinda straight to DVD. Moving on to number 8, which is The Beguile, the new Sofia Coppola film. It only made $3 million this weekend, and a lot of people might see that and go, oh no, its budget is $10 million, that's not good. But really, this movie kind of knows what it is. It's an indie film. You see it in like a couple old theaters. In fact, that was like the only theater that was showing this movie near me was like this really old theater that had like the balcony in the back. So it's that kind of movie. It's not really in trouble at all. So let's just move right along to number 9, which is The Mummy, which domestically is in trouble. Worldwide, nope. It made $2.7 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of only $74 million. It's definitely not picking up domestically, but worldwide, $349 million. And it needs to get to $375 to triple its $125 million budget, and I think it'll do that in the next couple weeks. Maybe not next week, maybe give it 2 weeks, but it's probably not going to be here in 2 weeks because Spider-Man Homecoming and then War for the Planet of the Apes and all these movies, so this is one of the last few times we're going to be seeing The Mummy, but this is definitely the last time we are seeing number 10, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. It made $2.4 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $165 million. So domestically, yes, this is the lowest grossing Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but on the worldwide chart, it got past $700 million. It's sitting at $708 million. It was able to it was able to triple its budget, got past $690, so that's really good. I honestly don't see why this could be really considered a box office failure. There are some people out there trying to make it seem like such, and I don't really see that because it tripled its budget. It's over $700 million worldwide. Maybe the budget isn't actually $230 million. They spent more marketing or something like that. But from what I'm seeing, what they're presenting, it did pretty well for itself, even though it is criminally underrated in my opinion. But now, it's time for the predictions for next week's top 5. I'm going to say number 1 is Spider-Man Homecoming, obviously, because that's the only movie that's getting released next week, pretty much. Number 2, Despicable Me 3. Number 3, Baby Driver. I hope this movie stays up. Number 4, Transformers The Last Night. And number 5, Wonder Woman. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below, and if you got your predictions right this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.